All right. Day 9 of 75 hard. Did arms today. Tomorrow is going to be leg day. That's going to be tough. Um, but gotta get it done every day. Every day, gotta get in there. This second trial, second time going through 75 hard, I feel like it's easier. The water, it's not really a problem. The workouts are nice. I'm enjoying them more. I think it's also because I'm using creatine. It just makes everything better. I actually see the gains. I'm pretty sure it's because of the creatine. Because the first time I went through it, I was not using creatine, and my weight and body shape stayed about the same. Um, I was actually being more healthy back then. I was actually eating like chicken and rice every day. Right now, not in the healthiest diet just because I don't have too much time, but I try to stay within a certain amount of calories to still be in that diet. So whenever I do eat, I try to eat as much as I can to stay in those calories. And it's been working out so far. I feel like I actually work better and feel better being on an empty stomach throughout the day. Kind of weird, right? I'm basically fasting. Well, not really fasting, so I do have like little snacks here and there, but I'm basically fasting the whole day till like 4. Probably not healthy, but I usually get home, have something to eat, and then go to the gym. And then when I come back from the gym, that's when I have another meal for the most part. But like I said, today is day 9 of 75 hard. Did arms. It was a nice pump. I felt like I could have kept going, but I was like looking at the time and I was like, I gotta go. Gotta keep going. Um, so let's get right into it. This first part's actually kind of long just because I thought it was hilarious. So the chapter is called interruption, and the art of refusal. So I thought this was great because this guy was a smart ass. What he would do at school is funny. So for all 4 years of school, I had a policy. If I received anything less than an A on the first paper or non-multiple choice test in a given class, I would bring 2 to 3 hours of questions to the grader's office hours and not leave until the other had answered them all or stopped out of exhaustion. This served two important purposes. I learned exactly how the grader evaluated work, including his or her prejudices and pet peeves. The grader would think long and hard about ever giving me less than an A. He or she would never consider giving me a bad grade without exceptional reasons for doing so, as he or she knew I'd come knocking for another 3 hour visit. Learn to be difficult when it counts in school as in life. Having a reputation for being assertive will help you receive preferential treatment without having to beg or fight for it every time. Think back to your days on the playground. There was always a big bully. That kind of goes off. But I thought that first part was a genius. This guy would, if he ever got anything under an A on something at the beginning of the school year, he would think up of a lot of questions to ask the teacher that was grading everything so that they would essentially be like, you know what? I'm not gonna give him a bad grade just so he doesn't have to come in again and ask me all these questions. So it was basically just annoying the hell out of them so that they didn't bother him. That is genius. I thought it was hilarious. Um, okay, so next, what was the next thing? So next thing, so he figured out a way to kind of deflect a lot of those. If you ever work in corporate, I mean, I never really had that. This happened to me too much. Maybe in the military, there was like emails I had to send back and forth sometimes, but not really. Um, if anything, it was good because a lot of times we weren't doing anything. So if an email came in, all right, let's get it working. But I also worked in IT, and if you work in IT, you know that sometimes there's stuff that you can't do right away because you gotta wait for like a part to come in. So you just kind of stare at the email and like, well, this will be here next week or etc. Um, but basically here this is what he does. Check he only checks email twice per day, once at 12 noon or just prior to lunch, and again at 4 p.m., 12 p.m., and 4 p.m. are times that ensure you will have the most response from previous sent email. Never check email first thing in the morning. Instead, and complete your most important task before 11 a.m. to avoid using lunch or reading email as a postponement excuse. So I kind of took this as the first part on how to get out of the job, because you start training people to text you, I mean, to email you at those certain periods, and they will probably try to email you back quickly, because if not, they know they're going to have to wait till the next 4 hours or the next time you look at emails. Um, and it also allows them to kind of get to the point, which this whole 10 pages that I read, he kind of just goes into different scenarios that happen for him doing that, as well as voicemail. So in voicemails, instead of saying send me an email with the script, blah blah blah, they said leave me a voicemail with your number and your email, and then he tries to email the responses to the voicemail so he doesn't have to talk to them, he can just email them, which is genius. um he That's how he's kind of slowly branches away, and everything kind of becomes automated. I could see how this is going. I could see how he does 4 hours a day instead of a whole 8 hour work day. Um, there was another thing I highlighted here. Doesn't I don't really relate to it too much, but I do relate to it just because a lot of the times I try to do everything myself, and so let me just read it. Because I was initially terrified of missing important requests, inviting disaster as you might be upon reading this recommendation. Nothing happened. Give it a shot. Work out the small bumps for your progress. So that first part, I was initially terrified of missing important requests and inviting disaster, just as you might be. So I related to that just because, as if like in the military, or if you're working corporate where there's like things you gotta do. Sometimes I try to do all of it myself, and I try to do everything at once, and it just becomes a disaster. And I like the way he starts. Um, how would I say this? It's like there was a ticking time bomb where you're gonna be stressed, and he slowly just gets rid of it. So now everything becomes more structured. You do this at this time. You focus on the stuff you need to do at the beginning, and then answer the emails and do all the other side quests. Uh, but yeah, I could kind of relate to it just because I remember like in the military, sometimes we had to do this, we had to do that, and I try to do it all at the same time, and it just becomes chaos and you stress, and yeah, now you're just going up and down like a crazy, like a chicken without a head. Um, and last but not least, I like this part. So they ended up hiring a sales guy that joined his job, and basically the sales guy came in. He's like, I'm not here to make friends. I have been hired to build a sales team and sell product, and that's what I intend to do. Thanks. So this guy just came in and got straight to the point. Then he kind of goes over to he wanted to impress the new guy. He wanted to kind of he's going to have every single detail for every single sales call or client that they're going to be talking with. He had it all planned out. If this would have been some corporate dude that wants all the details, this would have been perfect. But this guy just kind of came in and just he said, "Okay, give me the three top things that we need to work on to get this guy from point A to point B, so they could become a close." And after that, he learned a lot from what he says. So over the following weeks, he trained me to recognize this is part of the book, right? Over the following weeks, he trained me to recognize when I was unfocused and focused on the wrong things, which meant anything that didn't move the top two or three clients one step closer to signing a purchase order. Our meetings were our meetings are were now no more than 5 minutes long. So that 30-minute meeting, 45-minute meeting, that I was giving them all the details, they kind of got compressed to 5 minutes because they just kind of came in. These are the issues, this is what they want. Can we do it? And the guy is like, all right, try this, try that, and then they would just execute. But yeah, these 10 pages were a lot more on how to get that email and the voicemail to work than a lot of like little key things here and there. So those were the stuff I kind of got out of it that I that stood out. But yeah, man, today was a productive day. I'm gonna try to start going in the to the gym in the mornings, just so I have more time in the evenings. But let's see how it goes if I wake up. Um, but yeah, guys, remember, be patient. Success takes time.